Hello, and welcome aboard another episode of the Gallant Says podcast, available live at youtube.com/Paul Gallant, also available at twitch.tv/Gallant Says. It is late on October 16th of 2023, and the Houston Astros find themselves in an 0-2 hole in the American League Championship Series after a loss today at Minute Maid Park to the Texas Rangers 5-4. So there's a lot of things to discuss in this loss, and I'm sorry I didn't talk about it yesterday. Took a brief nap after getting home from Minute Maid Park last night. Woke up, next thing I knew, it was 7:30 in the morning. Long day doing both the Texans and the Astros and driving back from ACL in the morning. And today, on my way out of the Minute Maid parking lot, I found that since the Astros overbooked the lot that I park in with my credential, that my car had been hit and ran. I had to park by a gate because they told me to park wherever. There were no spots available. So I've been busy dealing with filing a police report, filing an insurance claim. There's a chance that over the course of this broadcast, I'm going to have to either pick up the phone to talk to a police officer or potentially go outside and show them the damage to my car. Anyway, let's just start off with how the Astros ended up, to be frank, fucking this up. It's Framber Valdez. Another example of bad Framber Valdez, a guy that we have seen before against the Texas Rangers. He loses his composure very easily. And I suppose I can understand how it would happen. You give up a couple of soft hits to open up the game, and then all of a sudden, you do what you've done a couple of times this year and make a fuck up in the field. You're going to get on yourself. You're going to get mad at yourself. As someone who gets mad at myself all the time, I empathize. But the problem is, this happens with Framber a lot. When he loses control, things escalate. And I guess he was able to calm himself down to an extent. He did have 6 strikeouts in 2 2/3. But he's the reason that they found themselves in an early hole. He made it easier for Nathan Eovaldi on the mound. And the Astros were never able to generate enough offense together to score enough runs to tie this thing. They were always working from behind because of the way that Framber opened this thing up. There have been 16 Astros postseason starts in their history where the starter lasted 3 innings or less, and Framber's been 4 of those. A comment at youtube.com/Paul Gallant from XXAnimeXDude. I wouldn't sign Valdez. Give the money to Tucker and sign Luis Garcia. Well, you're going to have to wait on Luis Garcia coming off of Tommy John surgery. And I'd also wait on Kyle Tucker because things have not been so good for Kyle Tucker of late, but more on that in a moment. Framber was fucking dreadful. And your pitching was the strength of this team going into last year's postseason, was throughout last year's postseason. It was the strength of your team going into this year. Framber Valdez is one of the reasons that you were supposedly comfortable moving on from Justin Verlander. You're expecting him to take a next big step. And last year, he was so consistent on a start-to-start basis, you would expect that to continue. But it hasn't. And now I'm beginning to wonder, when you think about the 2021 playoffs and how Framber looked against the Atlanta Braves, now I'm beginning to wonder if this is a more true indication of who Framber Valdez is. Much like I believe that this year is more of a true indication of who Rafael Montero is as a reliever for the Astros. I get it. He had a good year last year, but as a reliever with the Seattle Mariners, we was pretty shaky when I was covering up in Seattle. But to Montero's credit, Montero came in and gave you some good work out of the bullpen. As did JP France. As did Phil Maton. The bullpen picked up the slack where Framber left off. So you had an opportunity to win this game. Yordan Alvarez is fucking amazing in the playoffs. How he continues to bomb it off of lefties blows my mind. I mean, it's not just that he was able to do it against Aroldis Chapman, who I guess hadn't given up a home run to a lefty since 2021. He also does it against a guy in Nathan Eovaldi who's been very good over the course of his career in the postseason. And, I mean, he's the reason, I think the main reason that the Rangers realized, you know what, we're going to have to take Eovaldi out of the game. Also, a shout-out to Michael Brantley, who went 2 for 3. He had a doubled home. Yordan Alvarez, who was able to get on as well. But the rest of the Astros bats, yet again, you're wondering where the fuck they're at. Jose Altuve was 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts. One of those strikeouts was the second out for the Astros when they had a bases-loaded opportunity in the 5th inning with no outs. Yainer Diaz pinch hit for Martin Maldonado. He struck out. Alex Bregman grounded out to end the inning. You got to score at least 1 run there. 2 strikeouts. What the fuck? So Altuve struggles. Kyle Tucker is batting .091 through this postseason. Dusty Baker said he's at least hitting the ball well, but if you take a look at the last 3 games, Tucker is a combined 0 for 12. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's in the middle of an 0 for 14 slump. Because the last thing of consequence he did was get a RBI hit, and he had a couple of walks against the Twins. But he's in a contract situation himself. You know, going into this year, it was Dana Brown, who I've compared to a politician, talking about extensions that Framber Valdez could potentially get, Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, and you don't feel great about any of those right now. Some more comments here. N Fuentes Respecter, twitch.tv/Gallant says, Framber doesn't have it this postseason. He didn't have it 2 years ago. He had it last year. He's lost again. I'm with you there. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Ronnie Garza says, I changed the channel after the error and the earned run. That was a messy game. Well, imagine you're me dealing with the parking lot C situation that led to a ultimate hit and run because they overbooked the parking lot. I'm driving around looking for parking, and I'm hearing Framber Valdez fuck up while I'm doing it. Probably should have left for the ballpark a little bit earlier. Took me about an hour to get to the ballpark from slightly west of the Galleria. I can't believe how long it took me to actually get there. And I'm driving around looking for parking, and in the back of my head, I'm mad at myself. I'm mad that there's no parking spots available because the Astros overbooked it. And I'm mad that Framber Valdez is going to make it so that by the time I sit down, they're going to be in a huge hole. More comments, youtube.com/Paul Gallant. Enrique Gonzalez asks, how are we going to get out of this? Tomorrow, the Rangers superfan is going to call. Jack Jones comments, what did I say? It's over for the Astros, and comments with 4 brooms. Well, listen, I'm mad about my car getting vandalized. I'm mad about Framber Valdez. But, wait, you guys think this is over? Rangers fans are very adorable. I get it. You're new to this. This is something you're figuring out, you know? You probably don't really like baseball, but the team's good. This is how most baseball towns work. Once the baseball team's good. It happened here. But once the baseball team gets good, everyone falls in love. At least temporarily. Happened in Philadelphia last year, too. You do realize how the Astros are really good on the road, right? I'll go a little bit further here, and maybe I'm going to end up going down with the ship on this, but I still feel perfectly confident that the Astros are going to win this series. It's an awful start, don't get me wrong, and some of these bats need to wake up, but I do believe the odds of these bats all continuing to struggle is low when you consider that the Astros are 6-1 against the Rangers in Arlington this year, and that they have also outscored the Texas Rangers in Arlington by a whopping score of 63-32. 24 runs in a 4-game series where the Astros took 3 of 4. And in that last sweep, the massacre at the beginning of September, 39-10. And I get it. The Rangers were dealing with some injuries, so there are some legitimate excuses for what was going on there. I don't think that it's necessarily as one-sided as that score would indicate. But for whatever reason, the Astros are just better on the road. Are they sick of their families? Do they hate their families? Do they want to get away? Dusty Baker had some comment where essentially he implied that. He's like, well, no one's waking me up. No one's nagging me. I can just focus on baseball. Maybe that's what the Astros need at this moment in time. Whatever the case, I feel like they're probably going to win the next 3. All 3 of them are in Arlington. They get a day off. All the bullpen arms are going to be rested. Christian Javier hopefully is going to be able to piggyback off of what he did against the Twins in the divisional series. Maybe I sound crazy, but guys, it's a 7-game series. They have to lose 2 more times. The Astros are pretty capable of winning 4 out of the remaining, what would it be, 5 games? That's easily doable. Now, I don't like that they put themselves in this situation, but if you're an Astros fan right now and you're feeling down and you think the season's over, like, you're fucking doing this wrong. This is the best team you're ever going to see in your lifetime. Have a little faith. What's the point of being a sports fan if in this team you don't have the faith? Like, what the fuck are you doing? You got to have faith. Faith. Yeah, you got to have faith. More comments. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Roof should have been open, says JPM. We would have won. Another comment. Jack Shepard. Oh, from Lost. Damn, dude. I thought you died and were in purgatory. Spoiler alert for that show. It's scripted for the Rangers. I mean, if it was scripted baseball, the Yankees would be playing right now. If it was scripted, there would be a Yankees and Dodgers series. Kyle Newsom says Rangers sweep. Oh, you guys are adorable. Jesus Pinto says Houston fans, you especially are delusional. I mean, Jesus, you just started paying attention to this team. Your team, the team that blew the American League West lead. Cool, they've won 6 games, to open the playoffs? You really think that they're going to hold on to it? How confident are you? I know everyone, with a couple of drinks in them or with some feelings of confidence after a couple of wins. Yeah, you chirp, talk that bleep, but I mean, no one here is taking you seriously still yet. And I know this could be used against me at some point. Whatever if it does. The Astros own you in Arlington. I don't know why that's the way it is, but that's the way it is. They're just better away from home. Honestly, I feel like this is definitely going back to a Game 6 at Minute Maid Park. That's where I get a little nervous. Like, are the Astros actually capable of winning a game at Minute Maid Park? I'm not sure, but, you guys are looking for sweeps. Just because it's been easy to this point, you think they're going to be able to kill the team that has been here and done that more than anybody else? Like, they're calm, cool, and collected after this. Framber Valdez shit his pants in the first inning, and you still almost blew it. And they had opportunity after opportunity. And, yeah, the Astros did choke this one away. It wasn't just, that 5th inning situation where they had the bases loaded and they got 2 strikeouts and a ground out to end it. After Michael Brantley doubled home Yordan Alvarez in the 6th, Chas McCormick had a really bad strikeout. And in the 8th, after a couple of walks by Leclerc, who couldn't hit the strike zone to save his life, I felt like McCormick wasn't patient enough. He ends up grounding out. He should have let him, force a strike. There's going to be a game where the Rangers bullpen goes real Rangers bullpen. It's terrible. You're putting Aroldis Chapman in high leverage situations against Yordan Alvarez. How did you think that was going to fucking go? So I still feel pretty confident here. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant to make comments. Twitch.tv/Gallant says, Big Tex 420. I saw my San Antonio Spurs crumble and fall apart in 2012 when they were up 2-0 in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, and you know what? On the other side of things, I would say that there was once a moment in time where I felt like the New England Patriots in 2011, the team I grew up rooting for, after they beat the New York Jets. I think it was like 42-0 in a regular season game in December. I thought for sure that they were going to kick the Jets' ass in the second round of the playoffs. The Jets ended up winning. So if you're a Rangers fan, okay, yeah, maybe the regular season you don't put that much stock into it. But I would calm down when it comes to thinking the Astros are dead. The Astros were down 3-0 to the Tampa Bay Rays in 2020, and they forced a Game 7. I'd still feel confident if this team was down 3-0. Maybe less so about them actually coming all the way back and winning it, but this thing is going to go more than 4. The idea that it's going to be a sweep really just shows the naivete of you guys now that you've finally stumbled across baseball. And I know that sounds mean, but let's be honest, you probably didn't start paying attention until this year. And I don't even blame you. The Rangers have fucking sucked for the last couple of seasons. I don't blame you at all. Like, everyone here in Houston that's being honest will admit that, yeah, people jumped back on the bandwagon around 2015. Well, you want to sit around through 2011, 12, 13, and 14? I know that calling someone a bandwagoner is supposedly some sort of a diss, but I mean, if there's a product that you're paying money for that sucks and you stick with that product, I don't know. That's on you. And I know that makes me sound like a bad sports fan, but you should cover the sport long enough. Yeah, you realize that there are other things in life that you can focus on instead of some shitty team that's trying to lose as many games to get better draft picks. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Twitch.tv/Gallant says, David Hughes says, it's not over for the Astros, but this dude is an idiot. I mean, how am I an idiot? I'm just telling you about what the Astros have done year in and year out. You haven't really come with anything to say why. What? The Rangers got this? It's a sweep? I got a giant blue and red pants tent for the Rangers winning the first couple of games of the series. They deserve credit. Eovaldi pitched great. The bats did enough against Framber Valdez early on in that game. But a 2-0 win and a 5-4 win, you think it's going to be a sweep? Yeah, if it was more like what we had saw at what is it, Globe Life Field? If it was more like we had seen at Globe Life Field from the Rangers' perspective, okay, now we'd be onto something. The Astros have hung around in these games. This Rangers offense that we thought was so vaunted, they haven't been able to figure out Astros pitching outside of Framber in that first inning. The bats for the Astros have been the biggest disappointment to this point. And I know a lot of people are going to blame Dusty Baker and Martin Maldonado. I hope today that you look at yourself in the mirror and realize, okay, like, yeah, Yainer Diaz maybe needed more reps in the regular season. Maybe he's a little bit rusty or something like that. But Dusty did what you wanted today, and it still didn't work. Sometimes you people that are expecting, like, the alternate lineups to score 2 to 3 more runs, I think you're crazy. More comments here. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Ronnie Garza is saying, thinking about what happened in the 2004 ALCS. What happened in the 2004 ALCS? Oh, yeah. A long, long time ago when I was a Red Sox fan. Because I grew up in Boston. Moved down to Texas to work down here. I don't really like the Red Sox anymore. It's kind of a personal thing. I thought they kind of fucked over some of their all-time greats. And learning the way that they did it sucked. But yeah, they were down 3-0 to the New York Yankees. They came back and won. What else do we have here? Devin Licho says, enough with all the empty chatter. Every single one of you, I think you said another F-bomb, like the anti-gay slur. Astro fans doesn't realize that this postseason, the Rangers have become an entirely different animal from the regular season. I mean, in the play-in games against Baltimore, like, they're hot, but that doesn't mean they stay hot. honestly, you'd want them to be the same team that they were in the regular season. That was the team that was scoring at will. This team is not scoring at will right now. I mean, you needed a little help from Framber Valdez with the throwing error to first base that he had in the first inning for this win to happen. Astros should be ashamed of themselves for this performance today at the plate from Framber Valdez, but come on, guys. David Hughes just keeps on saying I'm an idiot. You got to give me more than that. Homer idiot. No, I just don't take the Rangers seriously. That's it. Yeah, even down 0-2 from the Astros perspective. David Cruz. Can't write off the Astros. They still the Astros. They're better on the road this year. Rangers fans are delusional celebrating just yet. Like that's where we're at here. Look, the Rangers are up 2-0. They deserve credit for it, as I did on my radio show today. A tip of the hat. And a tip of the hat for this game, too. It's like more of a tip of the hat. I'm almost bowing with this tip of the hat. Oh, wow. What a great point by Devin Litcho. You all keep forgetting the Rangers are better at home. Did you hear the fucking stats I outlined? 1-6 against the Astros this year, outscored 63-32 at home. But they'll be playing harder. Now they have Scherzer back at full capacity. You think Scherzer was the right 40-plus-year-old pitcher to bring in? Yeah, okay. I'm just not going to read David Hughes' comments anymore. We're not really contributing anything to the table. You're just speaking in cliches and obvious. Jesus Pinto. Yeah, we did suck the last couple of years, but we're up 2, little sister. Wait, are the Astros? Are the Astros a little sister? You guys are a poverty franchise. Like, you spent money. Oh, great. Woohoo, we're back. You make it sound like the Astros are the Patriots now. Only got 2 championships. Well, I mean, they are, as far as baseball is concerned. Yeah, that's how it works. Cameron Babbitt with finally a Rangers comment that actually is rational. They've been Framber's daddy this year. Right, you are. I actually asked Marcus Semien at the post-game press conference if it felt extra special to chase Framber out of the game early. And he gave a very measured response, credit to him being a professional. But he said, yeah, the guy throws at me intentionally. Yeah. He didn't say it quite like that either. Because he also said, look, we got to take care of business against the Astros. They've done really well against us at Globe Life. But, I mean, there's a part of me that if I put on the neutral, just watching sports hat, seeing the Rangers get on Framber like that in a weird way is a little bit satisfying because I've been getting very annoyed with some of the shit that Framber pulls out there. Throwing at a guy after giving up a home run is something that he has done in multiple games this season and is really just proof that the guy is a bit of a head case and can be easily thrown out of his game. And I really do wonder if this series does extend itself. How does Dusty Baker use Framber Valdez the next time around? Like, you have to use him. You got to throw him out there, Like, you don't have Luis Garcia. You don't have Lance McCullers. You're going to put Jose Urquidy in there? You're going to put J.P. France in there after he got the extended work today? It's a tricky situation, and, I mean, it's still Framber Valdez that we're talking about here. This guy was supposed to be your ace going into this season. Maybe Justin Verlander this year, now that he's back with the team, is the guy that they trust more, rely on more, but you got to use him again. I don't know how you hide him. More comments. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Marco Perez says, to be honest, I was more afraid of the Twins than this Rangers team. I still think the Astros can win. I was more afraid of the Rangers, mainly because of the bats. It's the bullpen for the Rangers that you have to get to, but it's not like the Rangers starters are slouches or anything either. You listen to me going into the series. I did think it was going to be tough. I thought the Twins series would be tough too. The Twins series was pretty tough. Look, the way the Astros have played this year, anything is on the table. But when you know what they've done over the last 7 years, I just think that the new, and I'll say new, because I just don't buy into the idea that you've been following baseball that long if you feel like the Astros are in serious trouble right now. They're in trouble. Serious trouble? I don't know about that. I just don't think you've been paying attention that long. Twitch.tv/Gallant says, Largo said, I tried to watch the ALCS, but got distracted by Alex Rodriguez's freakish face. Yeah, I haven't seen the television broadcast yet. I suppose I will see it for the road games. I don't think I'm going to be traveling up to Arlington for the game. Andre says, Astros bats are rusty. The series bye killed the Astros. We're not going to do that shit. We're not going to do the extended breaks hurt the home team. No, that's some bullshit that the Dodgers media has been doing. I'm sure there's going to be a Bill Plaschke column about that. That's what Braves media has been doing. Fuck that. We don't do that here. What else do we have? YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Fuck your car, Paul. Shit happens. Stros losing. That comes from Ask. Yeah, but when the Astros are kind of at fault, that's where it's bullshit. Like, the Astros created this issue. My car was in a spot where it was going to be easily sideswiped in retrospect, but there was nowhere else to park. They overbooked the parking lot. So now I got to get like a fucking police report, file a claim with insurance. Just dealt with an uninsured motorist hitting me like a couple of weeks ago. So Ask, go fuck yourself. But anyway, you are right. Shit does happen. Our sense doesn't feel like the Astros are having fun. Well, yeah, losing isn't fun. Blip, blip, blip. Oh, Texas Tags gave me $4.99. Threw up a little H. Thank you. Appreciate that. Don't take the Rangers seriously. Swept the wild card, then the number 1 seed. Yeah, dude. Here's the thing, David. You're still the Rangers. You have to actually kill the king for people here to take him seriously. That's how it works. You got to actually finish the job. Any Astros fan who's got balls or maybe is a little bit over the top, like right now, you're annoyed, but this is far from impossible for the team. And yeah, sorry, don't take the Rangers seriously. They had a huge lead in the division. They blew it. And somehow still didn't win the division, even when the Astros were trying to give it to them down the stretch. How can I take them seriously? 6 games in a row in the fake playoffs where, who did they play? I don't even fucking remember. The Blue Jays? And then 3 wins over the Orioles. It's impressive, no doubt, to sweep them like that. But that's a young team. They're babies. What they've done thus far is impressive. That doesn't mean I'm impressed by them. How about that logic? Cameron Babick, we're not a poverty franchise. No, until this year you were. You spent money. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. You will get to the World Series. Wounded Dogs. Ripe for the Phillies. Is that who's going to advance? I don't even know what's going on in that game. Oh, the Phillies won game 1 of the NLCS. Pretty crazy that Philadelphia is in this spot once again. I don't really want to deal with Philadelphia fans. Say the Astros do make it to a World Series. Robert Son asks, do you have access and allies and diplomacy in the back there? Yes, I do. Diplomacy, for those who don't know, is this board game that's based off of World War I. It's a very fun game. Kind of Game of Thrones-esque. Used to play this all the time back in middle school. We had like an activity period on Tuesdays and Thursdays before the buses left school. And yeah, I really enjoyed playing that game. Always played as friends. Oh, Paul, you probably like surrendering like the Astros should do right now. See, I just gave you free ammunition there. Also once played Axis and Allies on this massive board that was about the size of the floor behind me. Very fun. You get to do it in the European theater and the Pacific theater. But I'm a massive history nerd. So there you go. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. Lucas Rumfield comments, it has to be mental. The things they've done have been enforced errors as much as anything. Bases loaded and no runs come across? What the actual fuck, man? Tucker also could run a ground ball out once a year. You know what? I don't know if the ground ball running out is the issue with Tucker, but I do wonder where he is at right now. Because he's got to be putting some pressure on himself. He lost that battle over $2.5 million for arbitration. And I mean, this is where you make money if you're on the Astros. It's about what you do in the regular season, but you've got to deliver in the postseason too. And that just hasn't happened for Kyle Tucker. And he had some clutch hits in last year's postseason, 3 home runs, but he hit 204. He had an OPS of 706. Like, that's a guy that we're talking about the year before, 2021, as a possible MVP candidate. 2020, 2021, in the postseason, Tucker was a lot better. This postseason, it's not happening. 2022, it really wasn't happening. Cameron Babbitt, fuck this guy. Your pompous attitude helps you feel better about being down 0-2. Listen, man, that's just how I feel. This is how everyone is. When you follow the greatest baseball franchise of the decade, oh, they cheated. When you follow them, like, yeah, like that's how it is. What? I'm supposed to be like, oh, the Rangers, man. Whoa. No, we're not gonna fucking do that. Sorry. And yeah, I'm pompous asshole. Pena. Yeah, Pena's bothering me. Our sense. I miss Jeremy Pena. I want him to do Jeremy Pena songs. It's not even fun. Another commenter. I don't know what language characters those are. Is that Korea? Paul is just not their year, man. I mean, it probably isn't. It probably isn't just the way things have gone. But I'm not saying it's over. Come on, guys. Come on. I know what the thumbnail for this video looks like. You know, you got the dog sitting on the chair and everything's burning down around him. I know what it looks like. Still the Houston Astros. They've overcome way worse situations than that. So, we'll see what happens in Arlington. I'm still feeling confident because the Astros have done well in Arlington this year. I do think Texas is playing well. Don't get me wrong. I do think Texas is better than the team that got absolutely skull-fucked against the Astros back in early September. They're better now, no doubt about it. And they're hot. But everyone who's followed the Astros since 2015 still thinks that the Rangers, after those 2 years, 15 and 16, are just another challenger. Just another forgettable contender. If they win this series, yeah, it all changes. You got to win it. That's how it works. Twitch.tv/Gallant says, the Astros have done everything they can to make this as hard as possible. So shouldn't they sweep the Rangers in Arlington, then make us sweat it out? They can win one at home. I mean, that's probably what's going to happen. Like, that's what I think is going to happen. I feel like they're going to win at least 2 or 3. There's going to be a Game 6 in Houston, and none of us are going to feel good about it at all. You're going to be biting your nails. You're going to be thinking to yourself, like, Jesus, Altuve, can you get a hit in a clutch moment? Jesus, Kyle Tucker, can you get a hit in a clutch moment? Alberto Solis says, Yordan, if you hear our prayer, save us. I mean, he's doing everything he fucking can. I don't think you could ask for much more from Yordan Alvarez. These have been some incredible playoffs to this point. 2 home runs this game. How many home runs does he have total? There's been so many. 2 home runs in game 1 against the Twins. 2 home runs the remaining games of the series. 2 home runs tonight. So he's got 6 home runs in 6 games to this point. It's been truly incredible what he has done thus far. Anyway, that's going to wrap stuff up. Appreciate the Rangers fans for stopping by. Sorry I'm not telling you what you want to hear about your team, but I do appreciate you watching. There is a podcast version of this show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. It's also available on youtube.com/Paul Gallant and twitch.tv/Gallant says. Gonna be tinkering with some things over the next couple of days, so potentially we can also put this thing on Twitter, which I am on @Gallant says. If you want to follow me, if you want to talk shit to me, if you want to roast my fucked up car, have at it. Anyway, hope you have a wonderful remainder of your Monday night and or Tuesday morning. So long, farewell. We'll have another show at some point later today. Until then,